Have you ever just seen those systems that make you want to have them more than anything because they just look so cool? There's one of those systems that just stand out and look so vastly different to everything else that's on the market. And if you could just get your hands on it, you would be the cool kid on the block. I know you know what I'm talking about. And for collectors, Holy Grail items are some of those items that we spend most of our lives chasing. And when we do get them, it is one of those senses of accomplishment that we can't quite explain to anyone that doesn't understand. For me, PlayStation has such a vast ecosystem of consoles and systems that I would just love to get my hands on. And for this video, I've managed to limit it myself down to 5 systems that I genuinely would really love to have in my collection one day. And I do have some honorable mentions. I have a lovely list here. My honorable mentions include the PSX. Now, for those of you who don't know, the PSX was exclusively released in Japan. It is a PlayStation 2 of sorts that has I think it's a DVR decoder or something built in. It didn't do too well in Japan, so they never shipped it all over the rest of the world, and it had some really bad reliability issues. However, this system just looks fantastic, and even if it doesn't work, having one on display kind of just sounds like such an awesome idea. I'd love to get one that functions, but if I could just get one that didn't function, I would also like to have that on display. Now, the other honorable mentions I have are the God of War PSP. Now, there's actually 2 types of God of War PSPs. There's one with a black front with red buttons, and then a plain red back. And there's also a red one that has red all over, but Kratos' face on the back. That one looks really cool. And the last honorable mention I have is the Uncharted for PS4. I think that is the best, one of the best looking PS4 systems. And while those are my honorable mentions, the reason they only made it into honorable mentions is because I kind of limited myself to one variant per system variation. What I mean by that, I mean if the PlayStation 3 has the 3 console variations, the original fat model, the PS3 Slim, and the PS3 Super Slim, I can only pick one of those to enter my top 5. So one from each of those. So I could have 3 PlayStation 3s on my system as long as they all different. I hope that makes sense. But for me, I don't have that. I do have 2 of some other system. But without further ado, let's just hop straight into my first Holy Grail item that I would love to have one day. And this one's going to be a little bit weird, but I think the story around this kind of explains why it's so highly ranking on my list, and that is the pink PS2 Slim. Now, the pink PS2 Slim is something that I've actually seen in person, and when I saw it, I kind of just immediately fell in love with this bright, bright pink. And I know it's a pink system. There's not too much else special with it, but it just drew me in so much that I really just wanted to get one. And I have had the opportunity a couple times, but it's always been a little bit out of my price range. So unfortunately, I've never managed to pick up that pink PS2 Slim. And if you know me on a friend level, my friends all know that this has been one of my chase items forever. I'm quite fussy. I want it in box. I want it with both controllers, the memory card. So just picking up one outside of the box, while it would be cool, isn't exactly the way I want to do things. I want all these things boxed and in as good a condition as possible, because I do want to have like a mini PlayStation museum one day. So that is my PS2 console out of the way. I don't have any PlayStation 2 Fats on this list. There are some PlayStation 2 Fats that I do like, just none of them kind of grapple me or draw me in as much as that pink PS2. The closest PS2 that I would think would be the silver PS2, which I already have, so I don't really want to put that on the list. It is a Holy Grail item, but I already have one. Maybe one in box would be fantastic. But anyways, I'm rambling on. Let's move on to the next system, which is, well, ironically, the silver PS3. If you know me, I like the silver PlayStation stuff. I have the silver plates on my PS5. I have the silver PS2. I would love a silver PSP. That's not on the list. Sorry, that's a spoiler warning. But the silver PS2, PS3 Slim is on my list. This is my favorite variation of the PlayStation 3, and it is actually the reason I still don't have a PlayStation 3 yet. I'm kind of holding out for a silver or white PlayStation 3 Slim. I'd like either one of those two, but the silver one speaks to me more than the white one. I think the silver PS3 Slim is the best looking PS3 Slim. I think the best looking PS3 is probably the silver fat PS3, but that's not a console that I would expect to play. Those are the type of consoles that I would expect to put on display more so than actually use. And because I don't have a PS3, the silver PS3 Slim is that chase item, that holy grail item for me, the one that I really want, because it's not only going to look good, it's going to actually function and I'll actually use it. When we're talking about the fat PS3 Slim, or the fat PS3, sorry, in silver, I think that is the most spectacular looking PlayStation 3. I just don't want that system because obviously the reliability of the fat PlayStation 3s are something that I always take into consideration. So as a display item like the PSX, fantastic, but for me PS3 Slim is the one that I would rather go for. Now, moving on to my PSP. Now the PSP is one that I went back and forth with. There are so many awesome colors of the PSP. I have the blue PSP, I can't remember the exact color of this, and that I had as a child, and I sold my original one. That's not my original one, unfortunately. I wish I had never sold it because that would be my holy grail item that I would already have. But upon looking through the PSPs, I obviously saw the God of War ones. Those are fantastic. There's a Metal Gear one that's got camouflage and everything. That one looks really cool too. But if you know me, I love my green stuff as well, in addition to silver. So for me, the emerald green PSP is the one that I would love to have. The emerald green PSP 3000, I should say. There is a beautiful mint PSP, but the emerald green PSP is the one that I would want. And I want it in the 3000 box. There's a different box variant that comes with Metal Gear Peace Walker, I think. But I would want it in just the plain box. I think also having a full collection of those PSP 3000s in that box, so the blue, the black, the silver, not silver, red, and the emerald green would be fantastic. But if I could settle for one, it would be that emerald green PSP because it just looks so great. Now, this is where it kind of gets into that realm of it can be the same base system but two different variants. So in this case, for me, the PS4 Pro God of War Edition is my first variation of PS4, and the PS4 God of War Edition is the best looking PS4 Pro. I don't like the look of the PS4 Pro in its base stock standard. Those Oreo memes keep coming to mind. I don't like that triple layer. It just doesn't suit the PlayStation. I think it's one of the worst redesigns. But the PlayStation 4 God of War Edition looks phenomenal. I think that is the best looking PlayStation 4 Pro, and it kind of goes away to redeem the PlayStation 4 Pro because, like I say, I don't like the redesign of the PS4 Pro. I don't like that 3-layer design, but the God of War one saves it very well. The Leviathan axe on the top of the PS4 just looks spectacular. I would love to have one of those in my collection. I would then try wall mount something like that. That would be a fantastic wall mount. But yeah, that would be one of the only PS4 Pros that I'd actually be interested in getting. The others don't really speak to me all that much. Maybe the 500 million units, that looks amazing, but the God of War PS4 Pro is the one that I would have in my own collection if I had the opportunity to get it. Now, if you know me, the number one isn't that much of a guess. It's a system that I've been after. As a hint, my favorite design of a PlayStation is the PlayStation 4, the base model, the original, the fat model, if you want to call it that. I think the angular design of it looks amazing. I think it's one of the best looking consoles ever. And with that in mind, my holy grail one, if I could only have one system as a holy grail item, it would be the 20th anniversary PlayStation 4. This system looks amazing, and in the box it comes with the PlayStation camera, the stand, and everything is in that original PlayStation 1 color, that gray color that looks so spectacular. I don't think there's ever been a console that has been so well done. The little touchpad on the PlayStation has the 20th anniversary with the X circle and triangle. It just looks amazing. This is a console that I would love to have. They are limited numbers. I think there's only about 12,000-ish of them. And while that is a bit sad, it's something that you would have to pay quite a bit of money for, a pretty chunk of money. And I think it's one of those that will never lose its value. I think it will only gain value, especially if you get it all boxed and stuff, which I would obviously want to do. But yeah, that console for me is the ultimate system when it comes to the PlayStation library or PlayStation catalog. That is the one system that I would love to have more than any of the others that I've mentioned in my collection. If I could only have one console, it would be that one. I would feel guilty for playing it if it was the only system that I had, but that is my holy grail of all things PlayStation, of all PlayStation systems. I think even on top of collector's editions and things like that, that is my chase item. And maybe one day, if this YouTube channel does incredibly well, well, that's not really why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I like talking about PlayStation. But if it does, maybe that'll be our reward for, like, I don't know, a million subscribers or anything like that. I'm just joking. I'm here because I love talking about PlayStation. I love sharing my passion for PlayStation with you guys. But yeah, there are those items that I would love to have in my collection just to have an even more awesome background. I love the way the background looks at the moment. Let me know what you guys think. I've also added LEDs to the to the TV, so we have nice backlighting. Cheap ones. I mean, I paid like $100, but I think it does do a little to add a little bit of contrast to the setup. Anyways, let me know what your guys' Holy Grail items are in the comments below, because I think we all have them as collectors, as gamers. And yeah, I hope you have a fantastic weekend further. Cheers.